I am so bad at this. Do not be alarmed. Changing my mind for maybe the 50th time in this video. Hello and welcome to the Faded Wildflower Crochet. My name is Rachel and there is a fly in my house that is driving me crazy. Hello and welcome to the Faded Wildflower Crochet. My name is Rachel and a few months ago I did a little experiment where I made a cardigan using only Dollar Tree yarn. And if you watched that video, you will know that it was a little bit of a fail. Now, it really wasn't the yarn's fault in the end. It was my own fault for being a garment making newbie. But I feel like even since that video, I have come a long way when it comes to making garments. I have learned a lot. And so I thought I would maybe, hopefully, redeem myself in this video by making another garment. But this time it is going to be a summer cardigan made in cotton yarn that I found from the Dollar Tree. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so I did actually go ahead and buy all of the yarn already that I need for this experiment. I didn't get a lot of clips just because it's summertime, so I had my kiddos with me and I don't really like filming that much in public anyway, but especially with having them there, it's a whole thing. So I just went ahead and got everything that I needed. So let me show you. This is the color palette that we are working with here. I was able to find the most of this right here, which is the Premier Just Cotton, and this color is called Cream. And then I really, really liked this pink color right here, which is just called Pink. And then I found this one, which is just called Yellow. The color that I really was attracted to first was this pink. And then, of course, they had a lot of this cream. So I thought this would look really good together. And I was really, really hoping to find like a sagey green to go with it. I thought that would be really pretty. But I just was not able to find that. And so I went with the yellow instead. So my plan is to make stripes where it is a stripe of cream, a stripe of the pink, a stripe of the cream, and then a stripe of the yellow, if that makes sense. So having the cream go in between the stripes of the other colors. I'm not even sure how thick I'm going to make the stripes yet. And I realized I should also probably tell you what I'm actually making, which is this pattern right here, which is by Annie from Hooks and Healers. It's called the Ivy Cardigan, and it is just this open mesh cardigan. And I just think it's going to be perfect for summer. I'm going on vacation soon. I thought it'd be really nice to like throw over my swimsuit or just to like wear when we're out and about. So I'm really excited to get started. So I'm going to be a responsible crocheter and I'm going to do a gauge swatch. So I'm going to go do that. And I really hope that I like this yarn. I think I've worked with it once before. I don't really remember how I feel about it. So I hope I like it. We'll see. Hello, you guys. It is the next day, and this is how far I've gotten on my cardigan. Not too far yet, but I have already been through it a little bit with this cardigan. So yesterday when I was doing my gauge swatch, I actually started with a 5mm crochet hook. I just did a couple of stitches in that before realizing that it was going to be way too big of a hook for this yarn. And so I did the whole swatch in a 4.5 and I measured it. The height was correct. And then the width was like 2 stitches too big. And so I started over in a 4mm and then somehow the height was still correct, but the width was like still a 1.5 stitches too big or something like that. And so I switched to a 3.5 and that size hook was just too small for this type of yarn. It was making it split a lot. So I decided to just go with the 4mm crochet hook because first of all, I just like the way the stitches look the best in that hook. And even though it's a little bit off, I'm hoping that it's going to be okay. What I decided to do though, instead of going with a size small, which is what I was going to go with based on the measurements, I decided to just do the extra small and hopefully that works out okay. I'm not really sure what else to do. But I also figured that In the end, if it's a little bit too small, I can block it. But looking at the width of this, it seems correct. It goes all the way to each shoulder. Lily is sighing about that. Are you okay there? So I do think that it's gonna be okay. I hope so. Anyway, last time when I was making the failed cardigan, I definitely made it too big and I just really did not like it. So I'd really rather err on the side of caution and make it a little bit too small, knowing that it's probably, first of all, going to stretch a little bit. And then second of all, I can block it to be a little bit bigger. That's what I'm going with anyway. So as far as this yarn goes, I really like it. At first, I wasn't so sure when I was doing those gauge swatches and experimenting with different hooks. I did feel like it was splitting a bit, but now that I am used to it, I really like it. Let me show you up close what this looks like. It looks pretty nice. And I mean, for a pretty affordable cotton yarn, I'm enjoying it. I don't work with cotton yarns a lot, but I'm really getting into making items with things that are other than acrylic. As you can see, I'm doing a thicker stripe of the white, then a thinner stripe of the pink, and then I'll do another thicker stripe of the white, and then a thinner stripe of the yellow once I get to that, and just alternate back and forth like that. I think it's gonna be really cute, and I do think that this is going to work up pretty quickly with this mesh design. I'm really excited about it. So I'm going to keep working on this and I'll check in with you guys when I check in with you. Hello, you guys. It is the next day and the back panel of my cardigan is done, question mark. So the reason for the air quotes is because I did the right amount of rows according to the pattern, but according to the measurements, it's definitely a little bit too short. And I was also comparing it to this cardigan because I know I like the way that one fits me. And it's just definitely a bit too short. I don't know how that happened. Like I said, my gauge swatch got all messed up. So I don't really know how it ended up getting this messed up, but what I'm going to have to do is just do another 2 stripes of the yellow and then another 5 stripes of the white. And I think that should bring it to the height that I want it to be. And so that is what I'm going to do. But other than that, I really like the way this looks. I think the colors came together really well. It's definitely giving me Fluttershy vibes from My Little Pony. Are you seeing the vision? And by the way, do you like my mushroom shirt? It says the Mushroom Fan Club. And my husband was pointing out that it probably means a different type of mushroom that I don't partake in, but it just reminded me of Button. And so I had to have it. And also, speaking of mushrooms, my children and I have taken to just buying random snacks at Five Below, and we found these that are called Chocarooms. Let me show you them. They're like these little chocolate like cookies. They remind me of if you've ever had the Nutella where you dip the little cookie in the Nutella. That's exactly what this is, but it looks like a little mushroom and they are so delicious. 10 out of 10. Do recommend. This is the second pack of these that I bought. Some of our random snack adventures have not gone as well, like the shrimp chips that only my older daughter likes. She loves them. The rest of us think they are disgusting, but these are really good. I'm gonna eat this right now. As far as the yarn is going, this yarn does split some here and there. It's not constant and it does kind of seem like it depends on the skein or like where you're at in the skein, whether it splits a lot or it doesn't split at all. I mostly like it. I like the texture in the end. I do think for $1.25 per skein, they're pretty good quality. But is it the best cotton yarn I've ever tried? No, but is it the worst? Definitely not. I recently tried the Hobie, or I guess it's Hobby. I always pronounce it Hobie, but then I was watching one of their like bingo games and they pronounced it Hobby. Anyway, I tried the Hobby Sultan yarn and that one, of course, is not wound together at all. So that one splits like crazy. And then I recently tried the Kobu yarn and that one splits like crazy. And so this is not nearly as bad as either one of those. Anyway, more thoughts to come on the yarn, but I have used 2 full skeins of the white, and then I still have this much left of the first skein of pink and this much left of the first skein of yellow. And I have, I think, 5 more skeins of the white, 2 more skeins of the yellow, and like 3 more skeins of the pink, maybe even 4 more skeins of the pink. I bought way too much yarn. I don't really know what I was thinking, and I didn't check the pattern for how many yards I was going to need. I was just like throwing it in the cart and getting everything that I could, just because you never know, if you go back, they might not have what you need. So I definitely overbought yarn. So I'm thinking that once I finish the cardigan, I could also make a little matching tank top to go under it. That could be fun. So I am going to go ahead and finish up this cardigan. I need to do the 2 front panels and the little short sleeves and we'll be done. But of course I do need to add a few more rows to this first for that. So I will go do that and I'll see you guys later. Oh goodness, you guys, this is the 3rd time that I'm trying to film this clip. The first time my robot vacuum just started running for no reason. The second time Lily was dinging her bell because she wanted to go outside. And now the military base that I live close to is doing their training exercises. So if you can hear any of that, I apologize, but we got to get this clip filmed. So this is where I'm at on the cardigan. I did finish all 3 panels and have them kind of stitch markered together a little bit there. And I am mostly happy with the way this looks. I love the stripes. I did go ahead and weave in all of the ends to get a good idea of what this is going to look like. However, it is just a little bit smaller than I want it to be. As you can see, it's shorter than the tank top that I'm wearing. So I want to stretch it out just a bit that way and just a bit this way. And so I am going to wet block this, even though I don't have the best setup ever for wet blocking still. I'm going to do my best. And I'm also going to measure this to the cardigan that I made in this video because I already know I like the way that one fits me. So I'll measure out all the pieces and get those blocked. And then the only crocheting I have left for this cardigan is the sleeves. Now the pattern did have you make the sleeves separately and sew them on. I'm just not 100% sure if I want to do that. Part of me just wants to crochet them directly on. So I think I'm probably going to do that. And I also haven't decided if I'm going to make the sleeves just white or if I'm going to make the sleeves like in line with the stripes. I haven't decided any of that yet, but before we get to any of that, let me take you back over to my couch and we'll talk about the second project we're going to be making in this video. So since I have a lot of yarn left over, I figured I could make something else in this video, and I really thought about making a skirt. I think it'd be really cute to have a skirt that goes along with my cardigan. But first of all, I'm not sure if I have quite enough yarn to make a full, I like to wear skirts that are like below the knee. And so I don't know if I have quite enough yarn for that. And also I've never made a crochet skirt before. So that would take a lot of experimenting. And I would probably also need some elastic to sew into the waist. And I don't have any of that right now. So I figured instead I would just make a little tank top to go with my cardigan. So I think I have enough of this pink color to make an entire tank top in just solid pink. I think that would look really cute underneath the cardigan, or of course on its own. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. Okay, same day, different shirt, because I decided to take off the shirt that I was wearing, this little tank top, and use this as a little bit of a guideline for me to make my own tank top. Also, I did not realize how covered in fuzz this shirt was. I don't know how I didn't notice, but it is very covered in fuzz. I am already on my second skein of this pink yarn. And I'm only this far into the tank top and I only have 2 more of this color left. So I think instead of just doing a solid pink tank top and running the risk of running out of yarn, I'm going to do kind of more of a color blocked look. But I don't know, that's just my plan. I'm just kind of winging it, just kind of going for it, and we'll see. Hello, you guys. It is a few days later and I have run into a problem. That problem being I am not going to have enough yarn to make an entire tank top with. I am so bad at this. This being predicting how much yarn that I'm going to need for a project. With the cardigan, I bought way too much yarn, and then starting this, I thought I was going to have enough yarn, and it turns out I'm not going to have enough yarn. Maybe one day I will be better at predicting how much yarn I will need for a project, but that day is not today. So I do think I am just going to scrap this. There's probably some other options that I could do when it comes to a tank top. I could make an entirely mesh tank top, but I think I'm just going to take this out, and instead for my second project of this video, I'm going to just make some sort of hair accessory. I could do one of those granny square headbands that I love, but that one's a little bit thick. It would kind of cover my ears. That's more appropriate for the winter. I could also make a head scarf, which you guys know I have been obsessed with lately. But I think what I want to do ultimately is make a little tie headband like I did for my porch goose. I want to make one for me. I think it would just be a nice little thing to tie, like even when I'm wearing my hair like this, and I want to add a little bit of something. But first, before we get to that, my cardigan is finally dry. That took so long. When I did the blocking for my wool top that I made, that took just right around 24 hours. With this cardigan, with it being 100% cotton, it took 72, 60 hours, I guess. I don't know. Math is not my strong suit, but it did take quite a bit longer than I thought it was going to. But it is now completely dry, so now the next step is going to be to seam this together and do the sleeves. So I think what I want to do is, in the pattern, the sleeves are like around and around like this. I think in order to follow the stripe pattern, I want the sleeves to go out this way, if that makes sense. So I do think I'm going to crochet them separately and then sew them on, but I'm just going to do them in the opposite direction than the pattern calls for, if that makes any sense at all. I am going to go ahead and work on this, hopefully finish it today. We will see, but I'm going to seam this and start working on the sleeves. Do not be alarmed by the sheer amount of ends I still have to weave in, but this is the first sleeve, and I really like the way it looks where it continues on with the stripes, as you can see. I like the length of it. The only thing that I'm unsure about is, as you can see, there is like a little bit of gapping here and there. It's not too noticeable. Like from back here, perfect. From up close, like just in certain spots, you can see that the holes, like the mesh holes, are like a little bit bigger than I would like them to be. I think what I'm going to do is take some of these copious amounts of ends and just kind of cinch some of the more noticeable ones a little bit. Because other than that, I really like it. I mean, I could start over and do the sleeves the other way like it calls for in the pattern, and I do think that that looks just fine. But I think just because mine is striped, whereas the pattern is solid, it does just look really nice with the continuation of the stripes. I don't know. What do you guys think? Now, I think I am changing my mind for maybe the 50th time in this video, and I think I am in fact going to make myself a headscarf. I just think it would look really cute in this same pattern where I would do like 5 rows of the white and then 2 rows of the pink, like follow this exact same stripe pattern but in a headscarf. Like, wouldn't that be so cute? And I do think I have enough yarn left over for that, just not enough yarn for a whole tank top. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to go ahead and make the other sleeve, and finish. I still haven't finished seaming this on the sides. The other thing I will have to do obviously is to decide if I want to put a little border around the side. I don't think it looks too bad without one, but I do usually like adding a border. But if I want to maintain the stripes, then I would have to change every time I got to the other color, which would mean even more ends to weave in, and I don't know if I want to do that. I could also just do the border in a solid color, just like on the inside here, and I think that that would look okay. But like I said, I do think it looks okay without one, just a little bit unfinished. Again, as you can see up close, it's like, I don't know. A lot of decisions I still have to make, but I'm going to go finish the second sleeve and then start on my headscarf. So the cardigan and my headscarf are both done. I'm not currently wearing the headscarf because I wanted to show you my haircut, which it's definitely shorter than I asked for, and I'm still getting used to it. I'm not sure if I like it or not, so please be nice to me in the comments, but here it is in all its glory. So while I'm not sure if I like the haircut, let's talk about something I do like, which is this cardigan. For the most part, I really like the way this turned out. As you can see, I did do a pink border all the way around and on the sleeves as well. I experimented with a few different things. I was going to just go for white, but I think the pink adds a really nice touch, so I'm glad that I ended up doing that. Now, when it comes to the sleeves and the change that I made to make the stripes kind of go in line instead of going the opposite direction like the pattern called for, I do like it for the most part. I think I could have done a little bit of a better job with the seaming, but for the most part, I think it looks really good. Another nitpicky thing is that I definitely did some of the seams inside out, which I don't know if you can see that, but that seam is not the right way, but probably no one else is going to notice or care. My biggest issue with this cardigan is unfortunately that it's just a teensy bit smaller than I wanted it to be, which is so funny because the last time that I made a Dollar Tree cardigan, my biggest complaint was that it's too big, and now this one is too small. Maybe for my next one, I will get it right, but we'll see. I think the problem was that I just got a little bit turned around on the gauge, and that kind of threw everything off. But any problems that I had with this pattern were definitely my own fault and not the pattern's fault. I think this was a really well-written pattern, and there is a written pattern on Annie's blog as well as a video tutorial on YouTube, depending on what you prefer. So I will have that linked down below, but any mistakes made were definitely mine. So now let's talk about the headscarf, which I really don't have much to say about. I mean, it's a great looking headscarf, matches the cardigan. I'm glad I ended up going with a headscarf of all of the different options I was considering. I think I'm going to get a lot of wear out of this, so there you go. Now, as far as the Dollar Tree yarn goes, do I think that it's a good quality for the price? Would I purchase it again? And yes, I really like this yarn. Is it my favorite cotton yarn of all time? Maybe not, but for the price, I do think it is a really good quality. I like the texture in the end. I think it's a pretty nice drape as well. It feels durable. The only thing for me is that it splits a little bit more than I would like it to. Now, it does help when you have the correct hook size. I do think that the hook size I used for the cardigan was a little bit too small. When I went up a hook size for the headscarf, I do think that it was easier. I have also knitted with this yarn in the meantime. I'll have to put a picture of the little dishcloth that I made, and it was really easy to knit with. So I would definitely purchase this again for the price. And speaking of the price, I did end up using 8 skeins for this cardigan, which brought the price to $10. So for $10, I made this entire cardigan. So I think that that is a pretty good price. Again, is this my favorite cotton yarn of all time? Maybe not, but the fact that it is affordable, that it's accessible, I can just go down to the Dollar Tree and get it. Of course, I am kind of beholden to the Dollar Tree, what they happen to have that day, but sometimes that's kind of the fun of it. And I'm really happy with all of the colors that I chose for this. Overall, I am pretty happy with this cardigan. And so did I redeem myself from my failure the last time? I don't know. You guys tell me. I think so. I'm definitely much happier with the cardigan this time. I'm definitely going to get a lot of wear out of it for the rest of this summer. I can bring it out next spring and summer. And so I would say that I probably redeemed myself, but you guys let me know what you think. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. You'll have to let me know what you thought. And have you ever worked with the Dollar Tree cotton yarn specifically? How do you feel about it? And as always, if you've made it to this part of the video, I want to know, what were you working on as you watched today's video? If you did like today's video, be sure to hit the like button. You can subscribe, stick around, let me know what other kind of videos you want to see next. You can join my Patreon where I make bonus videos, exclusive patterns, and there is a Discord that you can join and we can all chat over there. So thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.